this single funnel fix added $14,000 MRR for my B2B client in just 8 weeks. You see, a couple days ago, I uploaded this video breaking down a SaaS client of mine that went from $18,000 to $33,000 in MRR within just 2 months, which is 8 weeks. So now, whether you run a B2B SaaS company or a B2B service provider, I'm going to be sharing you the framework that I applied for this SaaS company so that you can increase your revenue with just the existing traffic that you have, without spending any extra money on ads, without having to create any more content, without having to rely so much on marketing. But to be fair, in this video that I created, which is 17 minutes long, I went through the whole nitty-gritty stuff on like the technical stuff on exactly what I helped for this client, which is not what I'm going to be doing in this video, because I'm going to be sharing you the whole overall framework that can be applicable to any B2B companies. Because, I don't really want to make this video like a monkey see, monkey do type thing where, oh, if I apply this specific strategy to this B2B company, then doesn't mean you should follow it. Okay, I want you to have your own mind. I'm just giving you the tools so you can use the shovel to start digging. Importantly, I'm just gonna spill my strategy so that you can apply it to your own B2B business, because let's be real, doesn't matter if you run a service-based business or a SaaS product, as long as you have a funnel in your business, then this all can be applicable to you. But to be fair, if you really, really, really want to know what I did, what I did for this SaaS business without really having to watch this video of mine, for the sake of it, I'm just gonna share it with you real quickly what I actually did briefly. So this is all possible by using the product funnel in itself as the main engine for scale. And the first thing that we always start with is the landing page optimization. So this is the before page for this client who's bouncy.ai. Back then they have this gradient thingy which is distracting, and then this is the after. So what they basically did is, number one, they removed this background gradient animation effect. They changed this font. They kind of my feedback was to get rid either this first promotion video or this second promotion video, because they got two, and then that's what they did. Then followed by the sign up process. Before, my critic was to always have Google and Apple as the single sign on option, but they only have Google. So after that, then they added Apple and Google, as simple as. And at the first UI page, this is before. My critic was that you cannot just land your customers, especially for SaaS product, you cannot just land them on an empty state that really doesn't say anything. And then what I basically told them is to, just have an empty dashboard so that they can see these metrics and the overview performance of how it looks like when they actually start using the product. And then there's the value moment, and so this page is mainly the core value moment of this SaaS business. And I basically told them to to just make these settings into a default so that users don't have to scramble and figure everything out on themselves. And then I basically told them that when a user were to complete the first setup, complete the first aha moment, use confettis and congratulate them for it, because it creates a sense of completion and momentum, which then drives more retention and higher lifetime value. So there we go, just a quick brief summary on how I actually help like my client of mine. So let's actually get right into the video. That one funnel fix I'm talking about right here in the title of this video is to build a conversion funnel. And now you might be wondering, of course, what is a conversion funnel? A conversion funnel is basically a funnel that works mainly in the middle of the funnel, because like in every business you have your top of the funnel. This is your marketing, your content, your meta ads, everything. This all sits at the top of the funnel. And then you have the middle of the funnel, which is the conversion funnel. Then right below that you have your bottom of the funnel, which is the more of the sales side of things, the closing clients and all that stuff, right? So it's safe to say that we're gonna mainly focus on the middle of the funnel, which is that's where the conversion funnel sits. And so the conversion funnel only has one job, and that is to take the traffic and leads that you already have and then turn them into consistent and predictable revenue. That is the name of the game. Okay, we're going to be taking the traffic that you already have from the top of the funnel and then turn them into consistent and predictable MRR. So this is the framework. Okay, we're actually going to get right straight into it. The framework to building a conversion funnel that turns your existing traffic into more revenue is to always start at the top of the middle of the funnel. And I want you to understand that every audit that you do in your funnel always start in the same place, and that is the landing page. Okay, it's just like my clients, just like my other clients, just like how I'm telling you right now. You always start at the landing page, which is at the top of your MOF. The sequence here is always your landing page, and then it narrows down into the sign up sequence. Then it will go straight into your onboarding process. Like I said, doesn't matter if you run a service-based business or a software, you should follow this similar sequence. And so you would want to work your way down in that order right here, which is like a funnel. And the leak is somewhere in the process. You'll find it faster when you always go from top to bottom. Okay, which is why I always say that you always start from the top and then you go to the bottom, because this is so-called the rite of passage in order for you to find the leaks in your funnel. Right? You see here, if you're to actually really analyze it from the top, you don't skip steps, then this is when you can actually start to find any leaks in your funnel, any part of your process, that being maybe at the top of the middle of your funnel, maybe in the middle process, or maybe at the end of your onboarding process. And so step two of the framework is to run the diagnostic question that you ask at every single step. I want you to understand this, okay? At every single step of your funnel, you would always want to ask yourself this question: does this step help my prospect to get to their outcome? As simple as that. If the answer is no, then you have found your leak in your process. This leak that I'm talking about comes in three forms. Every leak has its own unique problem, unique shape, unique sizes, and everything. But in an overall standpoint, they always come in these three states. And that is confusion. This is when the customer doesn't know what to do next in your funnel. Complexity. This is when there is either too many decisions, too much friction before they even see the value of your funnel. And then messiness. That's why it's quite straightforward, right? If your your funnel is disorganized, it's unclear, it doesn't really feel trustworthy. And this is kind of like the misconception that people have when it comes to like having fancy copy or fancy animation, or having like a very like a bunch of copy and images in your funnel, which some cases they do work, okay, especially if, let's say, you have a offer that's quite low on the awareness spectrum, like you got the unaware, right? You got this unaware, and then at the top you have like completely aware, right? Of course it's aware. Okay, just A for aware. Of course, if you're selling to an audience that's kind of like low on the spectrum, they need more education, then it makes sense for your funnel, for your page, for your onboarding process to be longer. But even if it's long, you don't want to fall into the trap of it being messy, disorganized, and having too many decisions. Because there's a way for you to make your funnel process that's long, but you make it feel short, you make it feel engaging, you actually make it, conversational. The easy part when it comes to diagnosing all of these leaks is you don't really need data to do all this. What you just need to do is to walk into your funnel as if you're like a stranger, and then the answer reveals itself. But however, if you're the B2B founder, I understand that it's going to be quite hard for you to see some of the leaks. Because, I understand that as an operator, you get quite used to everything. You're so close to your business, and it can get hard for you to actually decide and see what problems to actually fix. Which is why I help B2B businesses to audit their funnel, to see where the bottlenecks is, and to fix it. And that's just what I do in the funnel list, which is under the description of this video. Not really trying to plug myself, I'm just trying to explain it to you. If you want more extra guidance and help on how to actually diagnose your funnel, and so that you can make more money, then you can check out the link under the description of this video. So now step number three is when you actually identify the aha moment. Listen, before you fix anything, you have to know what the aha moment is. And when I'm talking about the aha moment, every offer has its own, value moment. Okay. For a SaaS, that can be when a user actually signs up to your product. For a service provider, this is when a prospect were to actually complete a onboarding form, or when they actually book a appointment with you. This is what I mean by a aha moment. The specific moment of your product or service that delivers its core value to the customer. So aha moment just equals to the core value of your offer. And I want you to look at it this way, okay? To put it simply, everything in your funnel should just be a straight line to that moment, okay? Everything from the top of your funnel to the end should just be a streamline to the aha moment. That is it. And once you know what the aha moment is, you map the path to it. From point A, which is the top of the funnel, to point Z, which is the aha moment. I want you to actually map the whole okay, this is supposed to be AH aha moment. Fucking hell, I can't drop for shit. Okay. But this is when you actually wanna look at the path, your the path that you mapped out, and then ask yourself, where are people dropping off? The point where conversion starts to drop off, that is your bottleneck, and this is what we fix. So if you don't know your aha moment, then you can't map your path. And if you can't map your path, then what the hell are you even gonna fix? And step number 4 of the framework is to pull one lever at one time. I mean, this is kind of more like the operational way of thinking as an operator. You don't want to fix everything. You only fix one thing at once. We're gonna take two options here, option A and B. Let's say option A is you actually get your clients to the aha moment faster. Then this is when you decide to, you want your time to value to be really fast. So you actually start to remove every step that you think isn't necessary. But what you've done is you basically just remove every single fucking important thing from your funnel. Okay? I've seen some people do this because they think that, oh, like if I have a fast onboarding process or a funnel that's quite compressed, quite short, then my conversion rate will just skyrocket, which is not really true. What you want to do is actually follow option B, which is apply the RAC framework, which is remove, add, or change. Okay. Conquer and divide. Now, what do you mean by this? Okay, this is one of my strategies that I apply for every one of my client, which is kind of like a framework inside the framework that consists of remove. This is when we're going to be looking at what step or what friction points in the funnel that is creating any drop-off points before your customers actually see value. If there's any friction points, then of course this is when you would want to remove it. And then we go on into add. Okay, what guidance or signal or trigger that is missing in your funnel? This is when we would actually want to add things in a product and then change. This is when we see what needs to happen, whether in a different order, in a different time, or in a different messaging in your copy. Okay, this is when we change up things. So RAC, remove, add, or change elements in your funnel. And I mean, at the end of the day, just like how you see in my SaaS client, where I focus on the landing page optimization, the UI, the aha moment, the confetti, whatever feature, but I'm only pulling one lever at one time. Just literally one change at one time. Because if you try to fix 5 things at once, you don't know what will work. You experiment one thing, you A/B test it, you stay on that one thing, you iterate, and then once it start working, then you focus on the next thing. As simple as that. Okay, I don't really have to even like explain this. And so now lastly is, how do you know it's working? Okay, how do you know that once you start to implement this strategy, implement this framework, how do you know it actually starts to work? Okay, what is the before and after of it all? You'd want to be looking at 3 numbers. Of course, at the end of the whole entire operation, we always focus on your MRR. If there's any increase, what is your MRR before you apply the before you fix your funnel, and then what is your MRR after you fix your funnel? Before you check your MRR, there are 2 metrics that you want to check, and that is simply your churn rate and your conversion rate. More importantly, CV. I'm just going to call it CV as conversion rate. If you see an increase in your conversion rate, whether let's say in your free trial to paying customer or your landing page to your book appointments conversion rates, if you see an increase in that, then that is how you know that something has worked. Something in this video, in whatever I shared you, has worked. And of course, that's churn rate. If you see a decrease in your churn rate, then of course that's a sign that you know it's actually working just by of these 3 numbers. And I guess that's it. That's the whole entire framework, just these 5 steps, and yeah, there we go. If you want more specific help to apply this framework to your own business funnel, then check out under the description of this video. That is what I do in the funnel days. which is where I help B2B businesses to audit their funnels from the landing page to your funnel to your onboarding process, basically all that shit, right? We're gonna map out your whole entire business flow, find the bottleneck, and then this is when we're gonna fix shit together. So if you're interested in that, if you want more specific help, then check out the link under the first description of this video. And if you want to learn how to build your own beautiful landing page less than an hour, you can do that by using AI, which is exactly what I talked about in this video.